David, nice to meet you again in this
Nice to meet you.
special situation online. Now the new technology allowed us to be together, even if we are far, very far. I know that you are very busy, and you were very busy. You are very busy. You will be very busy in the next days because I think that it is the longest race you never ran in the past. No,
Exactly.
it's something really special. First of all, in the beginning, I was very surprised of one of your memories, no? What has attracted you in the world of Olympics? You were speaking about Carl Lewis. I was there at the Olympics, no? What happened with Carl Lewis?
So good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending where you are in the world, and thank you for hosting. I would say this point with all your members, and I think it's great to give the opportunity to all the candidates to speak in front of your members, and thank you also for all what you are doing to enlarge the sport in a way. By being our ambassadors through to the fans, and yes, when I started my speech in Lausanne, I started in this way and said, look, when I was 11 years old, I was watching the LA Olympic Games, and one athlete was for me, the symbol of this Olympic Games, and it was Carl Lewis. He won 4 titles at the time, 100 meters, the 4 titles. And yes, it's still a kind of iconic athlete for me. So when I saw him in Paris with a torch, and more specifically when he came back after to the official tribune, and I met with him, I was like a kid to see my the hero of my young age. So because of course he won 4 medals, but more than this, the way he behaved, he was a nice athlete, really nice athlete to see, always smiling, and yes, also 4-time, he has been 9-time Olympic champions, but 4-time, in 84, 88, 92, 90, 96 for jumping. So yes, he's a symbol in a way of the Olympic Games. So and when I was with my 3 daughters at the opening ceremony, they are 10, 12, and 14, and I took a picture of my daughters with Carl Lewis, because I said, look, I was the same age as my daughter now, and he was and is still one of the hero of the Olympic Games. So yes, my love, I would say, with the Olympic Games started with Carl Lewis in a way.
Yeah, it's very good because I am a journalist of athletics and I grew up with him, so I know what it means. It's something really special. But now, when you have decided to enter in this special competition?
I would say after the IOC session that we had in Paris, but the last day, we had one where President Barr officially mentioned that he will not ask for a new potential mandate. He will not ask for a modification to the IOC charter, and then the elections will be open, and there will be elections in March. So then I was starting to consider if or not I will run. So I took this time in between the 10 or 12 of August, at the end, I would say, of the Olympic Games, and the 15th of September, to discuss with members to feel or to see if yes, my candidature would be well received or not. And I reached the conclusion that yes, this candidature could be well received, and so I took my decision at the beginning of September. Of course, I first met with President Barr because I'm a very loyal guy, and I fully respect our president. So I wanted to discuss with him first, yes, and then I decided to run. So for me, also the profile he gave in his speech in this last day of the IOC session at the end of the games, the profile he gave of the potential future IOC president, I said, look, I don't think I'm so far away from the profile he gave. That's why it was, in fact, an invitation for me to think if whether or not I will run, and I decided to answer yes.
Because you have a big experience as administrator in different fields, no? I think that you're a very busy man, so it's not a problem for you to take care about the Olympic future. But anyway, let's talk about some problems that the IOC is facing now. The first we can about many people are speaking about is also the problem of not only parity of gender but the gender, the problem of the transgender that is vital in this moment. What is your opinion regarding this matter?
So that's not an easy topic, and of course, I was probably one of the only one to address this topic in my manifesto. So it could be seen as a kind of dangerous statement, but I think when you're in a leading position, you can't avoid to answer to the key questions, and this is one of the key questions, and also more specifically with the statements coming from US and so on. So of course, that's an important one. Let me tell you just three things. The first one is we fully respect the right of people to make a transition. So that's a human rights, and we have to respect this. Second point is any transgender is welcome in the world of sport. So we can only support transgender to do sports, whatever is a sport. Third question, and in fact, this one that we have to answer. In which way the participation of the transgender will affect or not a fair competition? Is it a fundamental right to participate in a competition in the sex you want or in the sex you were born? Because it may affect a fair competition. And we have also, and this is something I wrote also in my manifesto, we have also to hear the voices of female athletes who are sometimes afraid that it can affect a fair competition. So what I've done as a UCI president and what I will propose as IOC president if I'm elected, we had the same debate in my sport. And we time to have a full debate, to have a full survey with doctors, with human rights activists, with transgenders, with female athletes, with data, with scientific, and so on. And we've reached the conclusion that first point, even if you can regulate the testosterone level, there is still a small gap even after 4 years. And then it can affect a potential fair competition. Second point, your body has, in a way, the memory of what you were before. So if you are if you are tall 2 meters, and if you play basket, you will still be tall. If you have big hands, you will be maybe able to swim faster. If you have big legs, maybe to push on the pedals stronger. And then it can clearly affect a fair competition. So with that said, we took the decision in cycling to say that at the highest level, it's not possible. And so you can make your transition, of course, but you can't compete in the female category. For the IOC, of course, at the date of today, the situation is that each IF has to implement their own rules. So sometimes we are not completely consistent within the Olympic family. So I think what we need to have in mind is to respect human rights, to welcome everybody into sports. But the answer we may give is about a fair competition. In which way can affect a fair competition? And this is a topic that we will need to speak in the IOC session. So there are two options. Whether we still keep the system we have, but we give a frame of the elements that the IFs will like to take into consideration, and it will go through the IFs, whether we take a decision directly from the IOC for the Olympic Games. But it must be a debate, but a debate with surveys, data, and everything. So we need to prepare this. So, but we can't avoid any, to have any discussion on this. We need to discuss this topic. So this is what I would propose, is to organize a debate with, in fact, two options: whether to keep the current system and to go through the IFs, but to give some guidelines, or to go directly with a decision from the IOC session regarding participation of transgender in the Olympic Games.
Yes, many years ago, the IOC was telling what to do through for example, the swab test and so on, after they canceled the situation and after became a kind of jungle. Let's hope that after the IOC will give the right idea, because if we live in the end of the different federation, as we see now, is a little bit messy. For the public, is a little bit complicated. Anyway, the second point is the usual, the political one, in which we are now living in a very big tension. The participation even to the next Olympics here in Italy, the Winter Olympics, what we will do regarding the countries that are in war. There will be still suspension, there will be still independent athlete under the flag of the IOC, or will it be possible to solve the problem?
So it's also not an easy question, but I'm here also
to sure.
to answer questions, and of course not the most also the most difficult one. First of all, we call for peace. Of course, we are not naive to think that our voice is strong enough to stop the war, but we call for peace and we pray for peace, and we hope the peace can come back. This is clearly our DNA. Second point, sport, and this is key. Sport is not a tool for sanction. Sport is a tool to bring people together. So we are not a tool, among others, for sanctions like United Nations can have. So we have to be careful to stay politically neutral, but also to keep our autonomy. Politically neutral doesn't mean that you have nothing to say, and that you don't have to reaffirm some principles. And of course, one of the principles, and this is why at the date of today, the Russian National Olympic Committee is suspended, it's because they included in their NOC, in fact, a part or provinces that are today in another sovereign country with borders recognized by United Nations and the international community. So that's why the IOC took the decision, not directly because the country was at war. So we have to stay strict on our principles, and also to mention that the athletes, they don't have to receive any kind of discrimination based on just on holding a passport from a country. With that said, it's a little bit too early to take a decision regarding the participation in the Milano Cortina Games. There was a decision that has been taken for the Paris Games, and also well supported, in fact, and more respected by the French government and President Macron, with the autonomy of the sport. What we can see is we hope the peace can come back as soon as possible. Will it be a treaty or an agreement under the umbrella of the United Nations that can lead the IOC to take a decision to also reintegrate the Russia? It's not about the Russian athletes because they can compete as neutral athletes. It's more about the country in itself. But I do believe that a country is not suspended for life. So at the date of today, we hope that the conditions will be back as soon as possible to bring everybody back together. This is our desire. But yes, there are some principles. And for us, the IOC Charter is the key. This is our bylaws, and we have, I don't think we have to escape from this. But we have principles. Let's keep strict with our principles without interfering into political matters.
Okay, now let's go to the other problem that, I begin always with the question that are the same for every candidate. It's not that you are making. This is regarding, doping and match fixing, manipulation of result. I think that the zero tolerance is the idea of everybody, or not?
So, I come from cycling. And I know sometimes the image of cycling with doping, and doping was unfortunately a reality in my sport. We all know about the Lance Armstrong and so on and so on. So um, it takes 5 minutes to lose your credibility, but it will take 20, 30, 40 years to regain your credibility. And I know that. Today, I'm leading the sport of anti-doping. We spend 10 million per year, 10 million Swiss francs, around 10 million US dollars per year to fight against doping. So, and you need to have a very solid and robust program. What I believe in doping, this is a daily fight. We need to fight on a daily basis. But I also believe that the budget that is allocated to the World Anti-Doping Agency is not big enough to face the challenges we have. We don't spend, and this is something I mentioned because I'm in the foundation board, I think we don't spend enough money in research. For example, today I can spend 10 million in UCI to collect samples everywhere to check all the athletes and so on. But I want to make sure that the analysis I will send to the laboratories, they will be able to detect. But for this, the substances. But for this, they need to invest. And for this, we need to invest more into research. So
Yeah, for sure.
we know the tension now that there are in between US, USADA, but also White House, and the World Anti-Doping Agency. If I'm elected president, I want to solve this issue. Because of course, I'm a member of the WADA Foundation Board, so I know very well WADA, and they are doing also a great job. But I also know USADA, and I have a good relationship with Travis Thailand. And I think we have the same goal. It's just to catch cheaters. And though how we can work together to do this, how we can even reinforce, because I think one of the solution is to reinforce the fight against doping, and the contribution is one of the point. To be more down to earth sometimes is another point, and really we need to work together also with Interpol, with the police. I don't think we can with investigations, all with AI. It's key also. So the fight against doping, I would say it has no price, but it has a cost.
Yes.
And clearly we have to be very strict on this. And it's credibility of the sport more globally. And I know this better than everybody else, being the president of the UCI. Regarding match fixing also, that's another key topic, because more specifically with betting, and you have some sports that are unfortunately more involved in this. And clearly we have also to work with the governments, with the states, because the official betting is maybe 10 or 15% of the market. The most important part of unofficial betting with some mafias, clearly. And for this, we need to work with the police. We need to have an investigation. And I think this is also where AI, this is where new technologies can also help to detect potential match fixing. So I also think that new technologies can be also very helpful to help us to not to solve completely the matter. I think we are not too naive to believe that we can solve everything, but at least we want to guarantee to the cheaters that we will catch them. We don't know when, but we will catch them.
Yes, I agree with you that we need that every government create also law against this match fixing, because without the law, for the people, they can be caught, but after a while they are already free again to do the same crime. Yes, this is the big problem. And after my question, after I will give the floor to all the colleagues, is regarding the e-sport. I have some doubts about that e-sport can bring the people after to sport, but you believe in this, and why?
First of all, I believe, in fact, we have a kind of mission at the IOC, which is from the beginning, to bring people together through sport and to bring them in a peaceful way. So esports can be also a tool to bring people together. Look at today. The young generation, they are gamers. They are playing together. And I think this is, in a way, another tool, not far away from the first one, that can also give the opportunity to achieve our goals. So this is why I'm in favor of esports. And also because, yes, the goal is how we can bring gamers to also do sports, how we can, yes, even reach a wider audience, how we can renew the audience of the Olympic Games. And yes, I think it's a great opportunity for the IOC itself, but in a more separate games, not within the Olympic Games. It's during some continental games you have esports and real sports. At the IOC, our principles, and this is something I discussed at the time with President Barr, is more to have the games like they are, and to create now in 2027 the Olympic esports games. But look, today the young generation, they are also doing sports and also esports. So I don't want to oppose the two. I think the two can work together.
Okay, so very good. Now I open the field to the question from the colleague. Belisa has already asked to have a question. Belisa.
Thank you very much, Ian Hall. My question will be the same as the one I asked yesterday to candidate Mr. David. What will be your development in terms of health integrated into sports and sustainability if you become a IOC president, and what would be your role in relation to issues of artificial intelligence at Olympics, just in match fixing or any more areas? Thank you.
Thank you. So two or three questions in one, in fact. And the first one is, there is for me no B plan for the IOC and the Olympic Games to be more sustainable. And I think what President Barr has launched with the Agenda 2020 and 2020 plus 5 was really key. And when you see the results from the Paris Olympic Games with minus 54% of carbon footprint, they've reached their goals with everywhere the question of sustainability. I think it's a level of we need to reach this to keep the support from the fans and the population, because we don't want the games not to live in the real society. And the real society today is we have to address properly all these issues. And the games can clearly contribute also to reduce carbon footprint. And we also believe that for the health, if people are doing more sports, it will help to have a society in better health. So clearly, I will continue to push for what has been done, and more specifically also for the Winter Games, because we have also space for innovation with for sustainability, and you know the Winter Games. We have sometimes the feeling when you listen as some people that we are the reason of having less snow in the mountain. I would say we are more the victims of the climate change. So how we can also from ourselves contribute to still have winter activities, but also to take this seriously. And we need to continue to move more sustainable everywhere, to reduce our carbon footprint, to always ask ourselves what we can do better, and also speak about in my manifesto about social, yes, activities that we need to, or how we can also take care about I spoke about social charter. This is what has been done in Paris to have a win-win agreement in between owners of companies and workers. And look, it has been great. It has been, and now you can see that the games is also a space of discussion between unions, in fact, and we can provide this. Regarding AI, there is the agenda, the Olympic agenda for AI, and this Olympic agenda clearly described all the potential area or space for innovations. But I think with AI, we even don't know completely what will be the potential tomorrow, because it will continue to enlarge. I think it will help clearly the fans to have a more personal experience with the games. On the old days, until I would say maybe not until now, but until 4 years ago, something like this, there is no better plan that to open your screen and to watch the France Television, the RAI, or I don't know which channel, you know, in your country with this. And if it was volleyball, you had to follow volleyball, you know. But the fan, they want to have their own experience. With AI, you will be able to really live your experience to, yes, be in a way together with the athletes, to understand more, to detect potential match fixing, and so on and so on. So I think the potential for AI is so huge that we even can't imagine today what is the full potential. But I take this more as an opportunity. It's a challenge, clearly, but it's a big opportunity to reach a wider audience, to have more personal fan experience. So I believe it can help the games to grow.
Okay, thank you. Let's go to Wojciech.
Good afternoon, Mr. President. First of all, I would like to thank you that you, as a French, and although we have the simultaneous translation, you speak with us in English.
Thank you.
My words of respect for that. Now to the question. The cycling is a discipline where you have the national teams, but also the professional groups. And sometimes, I think mostly in the track cycling, there is maybe not the competition between them, but you allow the teams to have either their national flag or their professional group, let's say, flag. Can you imagine this at the Olympic Games? And maybe it would resolve the problem of the athletes who are now neutral because they have to, or the refugees, to compete under, let's say, the professional group flag.
To be honest, I don't think so. Why? Because the DNA of the Olympic Games is a competition per nation. And this is why also everybody is behind the games. This is why also the athletes, they are so proud to wear the national jersey or national flag. Look at, I will just take an example. Djokovic in tennis in Paris. So he was playing for his country, Serbia, with no prize money. And he was crying like a kid, in fact. And it was so emotional, even for us. So I think this is something unique for the games. And yes, I think if we touch to this, it's clearly part of the success of the game. So in the UCI, the World Championships are also only per nation. You can have World Cups or other competitions with combined national team or trade team. But the national championships, the World Championships, are always per nation. And this is, for the games, this is what will make the games unique. And even when we spoke, for example, about the esports games, I remember I'm the head of this esports commission, and I was pushing to have this per nation. There were debate. Do we have to go through teams, through national teams? And finally, all together, even gamers themselves, you know, they want to reproduce in a way the games. And I think one of the big value of the Olympic Games is that it's per nation. So yes, I don't want to touch this. This is one fundamental point of the games.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, let's go to Raul. Raul?
Thank you, Gianni. Good morning. Do you have a plan to help countries that are not very developed, like many countries in Africa, in America, or Little Iceland in Oceania?
Yes, clearly, what I believe on that is, and it's something I wrote in my manifesto, and I think I'm maybe the only one to do this, also taking lessons from what we've done here. The goal for the IOC is to keep universality, and that not just in only 5 or 10 nations will have more and more medals. I'm coming from a country, France, where I'm the president of the NOC. We were ranked number 5 this time, so we're very happy. But I can see that the top 5 nations are aggregating more and more medals because we need more technology, we need more resources. And if we don't take care, I think we will not enlarge, but reduce the number of countries able to win medals. And universality is key, but just not universality to take part, but universality also to gain medals. And I said, look, how we can reach this goal, which is key, I think, for the Olympic movement, it's by giving the athletes the same opportunities, whether they are coming from countries with a solid expertise, and there are many, but also coming from countries where they don't have this expertise, whether they don't have the equipments or they don't have the coaches because it's high level of techniques and so on. So what we've done here, we have in the UCI the World Cycling Center. And we have some satellites. We have one in Oceania, in Cambridge, New Zealand. So we have 11 satellites in the world where we can detect trained athletes, and then the best one after can reach the World Cycling Center here in Switzerland, and we qualify 11 athletes were qualified through this system at the last Olympic Games, and clearly coming from nations who don't have the expertise. We had athletes qualifying track cycling. They even don't have a single velodrome in their country. But because we've been able to bring them, the expertise, coaches at the highest level, like top athletes. And I do believe that it's in my proposition that among also the IOC Solidarity Program, we have 650 million US dollars for the 4-year cycles. Of course, it's direct help to the athletes and so on. But why not, and this is something I propose, to have some kind of regional centers that can be useful for athletes. And you speak about the Oceania as an example. You have 2 big nations, and you have a lot of Pacific islands, where in some sports they don't have the equipment, the facility, the technology. Why not to have also one satellite, depending where, and then also to bring potential athletes and for them to reach their Olympic dreams. So I think it's clearly something we have to do, and I can see the result of this in the UCI. It's a huge result, and we enlarge universality, but not only, they even are able to gain some medals, which is key. So this model can be also duplicated in a way at the IOC level, of course, together with international federations, because it depends also on the sport, of the equipment, and so on.
Okay, let's go to Tracy.
Thanks, Gianni. Hi, Mr. Lappartient. My question is
Hi.
about, there's always a lot of discussion around attracting a new market, keeping the games relevant to the younger audience. Esport is part of that. But also part of the big equation is media and what is happening with media, the changing of media consumption. And with the IOC getting a majority of its money from the TV broadcasters, and they are now not earning as much money as they used to, do you see that as a major issue that the IOC needs to address?
Yeah, that's really a good question, because I think this is one of the key points in the future. To answer this, the first point is, look, we have a very solid brand. The Olympic Greens are fully recognized everywhere in the world, and in a positive way, because you can be fully recognized, but so for us, it's in a positive way. Second point, our asset in a way. The Olympic Games, I think, they have never been as powerful as today after the Paris Games. Our revenues are secure for the next 4 years, 7.3 billion US dollars, and even 6.2 billion secure until 2032. However, and the Olympic values, last point, and I will come back on the revenues. The Olympic values, they have never been so modern. They are very old, coming from de Coubertin, but to bring people together through sports in a peaceful way, that's never been so modern. That said, one of the main goals for the president of the IOC will clearly be to continue to ensure that we can continue our missions, and for this, that we can secure our revenues. It's not because our revenues are quite secure for the next 8 years that it will be the case in 16 years. We are in a so disrupting world that in 4 years' time, in 8 years' time, it can completely change. And the new president, of course, together with the members, will have also to not only to follow the market, but to anticipate the market, to see also to build the future. And you are right. Today, more than 60% of our revenues are coming from the media right. 30% is more the top partners, and after we have other revenues. But who knows tomorrow if the way the fans, they will in fact take our product or look the games will affect our revenue. So it's clearly for me a key question for the future, how we can secure our revenues in a very disrupting world, and maybe it will be more widespread. Today it's in between the hands of key stakeholders. So that's clearly one of the main point and the main challenge for the IOC, maybe for 2036, 2040, and this will be a point where everybody is waiting for the new president also to address this properly. And this is why sometimes to sign contracts that are too short could be a challenge, but too long can be also a challenge. So that's the main important point for me for the future, is to secure our media rights, and it will be probably completely different because we'll have new platforms, new ways to watch the games, but how we can turn this into opportunities.
Thank you.
Thank you. So let's go to Joe.
Grazie Gianni. Mr. David Lappartient, good afternoon and nice to see you again. Joe Bajada, the Gozo Malta.
Hello, Joe.
Hello. Now, as IOC president, what specific steps will you take to ensure that the selection of future host countries are fully respectful to human norms? And I sincerely wish you good luck and see you soon in Bratislava.
Yes, hello, Joe, and nice to have you on screen and see you this weekend in Bratislava. So you are right, and this is also something I mentioned in my manifesto. Of course, it's about human rights. We have a lot of potential candidates for the future to all the Olympic Games, which is great, I think. And I think the new norm, what President Barr also brought with the Agenda 2020, brought potential additional candidates, which is great because it was not clearly the case some years ago, and that's great. But of course, we have Olympic values, and we must ensure that the host country will be able with us to carry all these Olympic values, and it's part also of the elements that the IOC will check before awarding the games. So I'm sure that the future candidates, they will have this in mind, and they will be also compliant with our Olympic values. But that's key clearly for us.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Let's go to Faisal.
Bonjour à tous. Ma question va être un peu précise. Qu'est-ce qui vous a poussé à se présenter en tant que candidat pour les élections de CEO? Ça, c'est ma première question. Ma deuxième question, on parle beaucoup que vous avez besoin de toutes les nations, mais le souci aux Jeux Olympiques Paris 2024, nous, par exemple, en Algérie, on a eu une quarantaine d'athlètes qualifiés. Par contre, on n'a eu que 5 journalistes accrédités. Et ce qui s'est passé, par exemple, il y avait la finale, il y avait un match de boxe qui était très important pour les Algériens. Et en même temps, il y avait Sudjati qui jouait la finale du 800 mètres. Alors, ces 8 journalistes, ils étaient déjà non-right holders, donc ils n'avaient pas le droit de diffuser. Et on n'a pas eu, on a eu quand même 3 médailles lors de ces Jeux, mais on n'a pas eu des interviews à chaud. Parce que tout simplement, les droits, on ne l'avait pas. Et ces groupes-là, qu'on connaît très bien, qui sont en train, on va dire, de garder les images que pour eux, on parle du groupe MENA, parce que c'est très important, le groupe MENA, en fait, toutes les nations qui appartiennent au groupe MENA, ils ont du mal à diffuser dans leur propre pays. C'est un peu ça aussi, et même pour les journalistes, pour être accrédités. Je veux bien savoir quelle est l'équation ici. Merci.
Merci à vous. Alors, je vais vous répondre de ce fait en français. Premier élément, pourquoi être candidat à la présidence du CIO? C'est vrai que j'ai répondu pour partie tout à l'heure, mais je vais compléter. Quand effectivement le président Barre a annoncé ne pas solliciter une modification de la charte olympique, et dès lors qu'on savait qu'il y avait des élections, et il avait aussi donné un peu le profil de ce qu'il espérait être peut-être le futur ou la future présidente ou président, je me suis dit, tiens, ça peut correspondre au profil qui est le mien. Je me suis dit aussi, bon, je suis président de comité national olympique, je suis président de fédération internationale, et finalement, je connais parfaitement deux des piliers finalement du mouvement olympique, deux des acteurs principaux finalement du mouvement olympique, et je pense que je peux apporter quelque chose au mouvement olympique, mon énergie, ma vision, et finalement tout ce que j'ai fait depuis, moi je siège à l'UCI depuis 2005, ça va faire 20 ans au mois de mars. J'ai été élu pour la première fois au comité olympique français en 2009, donc je pense, ça fait donc plus de 15 ans, donc je pense quand même avoir un passé de dirigeant. J'ai été président de fédération, dirigeant de club. Je pense avoir un passé qui me permet de dire que j'espère avoir les qualités pour faire ça, sachant que je suis aussi président de mon département, de ma province, et donc je connais aussi quand même les aspects géopolitiques, et les élections, en plus, c'est maintenant. Donc c'est un peu comme dans une course de vélo où quand il y a une échappée qui part, bah, soit vous restez dans le peloton, soit vous dites bah, c'est maintenant. Et donc les prochaines élections sera dans 8 ou 12 ans finalement. Et donc il fallait que je me pose la question maintenant, et j'ai l'envie, l'énergie, et donc je me suis dit bah, écoute, j'y vais, et maintenant ce sera à mes collègues de faire le choix de qui ils estiment être le meilleur pour le poste. Mais je pense que voilà, le profil qui est le mien peut en tout cas rejoindre, je crois, un certain nombre des préoccupations des collègues. Et puis, avec un point majeur, c'est le sport. Pour moi, on doit rester avant tout une organisation sportive. Certes, nous sommes aussi un peu une organisation politique, on le sait, mais on doit quand même avoir le sport au cœur. D'ailleurs, c'est le titre de mon manifeste. Ensuite, et puis aussi, dernier point là-dessus, j'ai consulté un certain nombre de collègues au préalable, et j'ai senti en tout cas qu'il y avait chez un certain nombre d'entre eux, pas en tout cas d'hostilité, voire même des encouragements à porter ma candidature. Et voilà, je me suis dit aussi, j'ai peut-être l'âge parfait en combinant quand même la jeunesse et donc la connexion aux enjeux actuels, et l'expérience qui est quand même utile et nécessaire pour ce style de poste. Donc voilà, j'ai considéré que finalement les conditions étaient réunies pour pouvoir y aller. Deuxième question, que vous posez, c'est effectivement l'accès aux journalistes et le sujet que les droits sont vendus par packages régionaux. Et donc vous, effectivement, vous avez tout le MENA, donc le Moyen-Orient, puis toute l'Afrique du Nord globalement, hein, qui est vendu dans un ensemble. Et donc, ce qui peut, alors pour les titulaires de droits, renforcer leurs droits naturellement. Pour ceux qui sont moins, il y a des accès à l'information, mais plus indirects pour certaines interviews et d'autres. Et ensuite, effectivement, quand on n'a pas pléthore de journalistes accrédités et qu'on a plusieurs épreuves le même jour, ça peut être compliqué. Alors, sachant que, compte tenu de la complexité de faire un calendrier des épreuves olympiques, on ne peut pas forcément regarder en fonction de tel ou tel pays quels seraient les athlètes qualifiés. Et donc, il y aura toujours des conflits de ce genre. Après, je ne connais pas le détail suffisamment de la question, mais je l'ai enregistré pour regarder comment peut-être à l'avenir on peut assurer que des opérations comme ça puissent avoir quand même un œil bienveillant, parce qu'on y a intérêt, pour être très clair. On a, nous, intérêt, CIO, à ce que des champions olympiques dans un pays puissent être interviewés, puissent être vus en direct. Pourquoi? Parce que ce qui fait le rayonnement des Jeux, un pays va regarder les Jeux, bien sûr, il va regarder globalement les Jeux. Mais on voit bien que les pics d'audience dans tous les pays sont quand les athlètes du pays concourent. Et ça, c'est absolument fondamental qu'on permette finalement, parce que c'est ce qui fera l'audience globale des Jeux. Et c'est pour ça que les Jeux doivent se dérouler aussi par nation. Parce que, voilà, en Algérie, les gens veulent voir les Algériens, c'est normal. Et comme dans n'importe quel autre pays. Et ils veulent ensuite recevoir l'interview de l'athlète en question. Donc, ça fait partie des choses où il faudra travailler plus en détail, parce que je n'ai pas l'habitude de donner des réponses quand j'ai pas forcément tous les éléments. Je préfère donner des réponses circonstanciées, mais je m'engage en tout cas à regarder ça plus en détail.
Okay, regarding this, I think that after we can talk a little bit, but now let's go to Vincenzo.
Grazie Gianni. Monsieur Lappartient, first question is about roller sport from me. There is skateboard in the Olympic program. I want to know if to open to the young generation, there is the space also for other sports of this area. For example, I mean about rink hockey or inline hockey or speed skating. And la deuxième question, c'est en les émissions télévisives. Il y a beaucoup des émissions payantes sur les Jeux olympiques. Vous pensez que c'est la priorité pour l'universalité pour le sport de retourner chez les émetteurs nationaux qui ne sont pas païens?
So in fact, two questions. The first one you have, and thank you for the questions, is about, in a way, new disciplines and in a way modern disciplines that are connected also with the urban sports or sports you can find in the street and so on. So I think also that the games themselves, they have also to live in their time. We have also potential new sports that may be considered. But of course, there is a kind of limit. Is we want also to make sure that the games will not always be bigger and bigger and bigger, so that nobody will be able to organize them, or it will cost so much money that we will be also fired. So we have a good balance. And at the date of today, the Olympic charters allowed to have 10,500 athletes. So with this in mind, of course, if you had additional disciplines, you have potentially to take all the disciplines or to reduce the quotas. So we already reduced the quotas when we moved from a little bit more than 11,000 athletes to 10,500. So we had to cut some athletes. And among the additional disciplines, it's true that the local can propose some disciplines. for the LA disciplines, I think some are very important. Some others are not completely universal, and that's one of the topic. I think for me, we need also to ensure that the disciplines we'll bring are also quite universal, that we can find athletes from all the globe, not only for a certain area. And with this in mind, I think we can bring potential additional disciplines, also in link maybe sometime with a little bit the DNA of the country, but because and that's maybe a more global debate. We have today some mandatory disciplines or sports. No, it's not mandatory discipline. We have mandatory sports in the Olympic program, but in these sports, then it's open for the disciplines. So I think we need to continue to evaluate. Maybe some things can change, not with removing sports, but even some sports in the discipline can be also modified. It has been the case in my sport as an example, but other sports, because I think we have clearly modern disciplines that brought fresh air. Look at the basket 3-3 in Paris. I think it was a huge success. You have also, yes, skateboard as an example was also a good one. The youngest athlete in the Olympic Games was on skateboard. She was only 12 years old. So I think it's also a way to open the games on the new generation. So I'm clearly open to have a full discussion and a full debate on this. Coming back now to pay TV and pay channels. Of course, the IOC, they will sell the rights, whether per nation or per region or continent. And then after maybe the one to buy the rights can also sell the different rights. But we have in some countries some laws. We have some countries where the laws clearly mention that it has to be on free-to-air. In some, like my country, the games are not allowed on pay TV, or they are allowed, but at least you need to have them on free-to-air. So, and of course, if you are on free-to-air, then you can enlarge the viewership, and you can enlarge the number of people able to watch the games. So it's up also to the countries to regulate a little bit in a way whether, if yes or not, they have to be on the free-to-air, or they can be allowed on pay channel. But for us to reach a wider audience, it's also something key. And yes, for me as president of International Federation, I'm always careful that my UCI World Championship are also in free-to-air, because that's a way to enlarge your viewership. So it's a combination. So, but in some countries, yes, free-to-air is also pay TV is maybe a way also to secure some rights. So, you know, it's a balance. It's not so easy to answer this question, but I think governments, they have also the possibility to regulate a bit this in the country.
Grazie.
Okay, now we go to Daniel Diabali, that was not able to raise his hand and he has sent to me. Where are you now? Diamel, you have to open the microphone. Diamel, he works in television. You must be used with the. Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay.
Okay.
You hear me?
Yes.
May I ask in French, because I'm French. Bonsoir, Monsieur Lappartient. J'ai une question, mais bon, on peut la diviser en 2 ou 3 questions. La première, bon, ça sont toutes liées. Hein. La première, c'est que avant, il y avait beaucoup de candidats, il y avait de la transparence surtout. Et donc, on arrivait à une finale, on arrivait à la désignation avec un grand show mondial et tout, pour annoncer la ville qui va organiser les Jeux Olympiques. Ce n'est plus le cas maintenant. Les gens trouvent qu'il y a moins de transparence dans le processus de désignation des villes organisatrices depuis, depuis une dizaine d'années à peu près. Cela m'amène à l'autre question. Est-ce que les Jeux olympiques sont ouverts à tous les pays? Parce qu'on voit par exemple que l'organisation, ça a été en Amérique du Nord, ça a été surtout en Europe et en Asie du Sud-Est. C'est tout. Japon et Corée, pour être plus précis, et Chine. Donc, est-ce que c'est ouvert à tout le monde? Si c'est ouvert à tout le monde, est-ce que des pays comme l'Argentine et le Chili peuvent organiser les Jeux olympiques d'hiver, sachant pertinemment que ça va tomber au mois de juillet et août pour des Jeux olympiques d'hiver?
Alors, merci pour ces deux questions. D'abord sur le processus et ensuite sur... alors, sur le processus, moi, ce que j'ai proposé, j'ai répondu ça et j'en ai aussi parlé lors de mon allocution devant les membres du CIO à Lausanne le 30 janvier dernier. Je crois qu'il y avait aussi un contexte qui a conduit à la décision actuelle qui est d'entrer dans un dialogue permanent, puis un dialogue ciblé aujourd'hui avec un seul candidat, puis une ratification par la session. Mais ça n'est qu'une ratification par la session. Il n'y a plus de choix, il n'y a plus de deux choix, il y a un seul choix,
Ouais.
et c'est oui ou non on approuve, et très clairement c'est oui. Bon, il y avait des raisons, il y a eu peut-être des comportements à l'époque inappropriés, on va dire, ou même pire que ça, au CIO qui ont porté préjudice à l'institution. Et puis, on avait une diminution du nombre de candidats. Nous ne sommes plus dans cette situation-là. Nous sommes aujourd'hui en 2036 avec potentiellement beaucoup de candidats, et même en 2040. Donc, ce que j'ai proposé, c'est que lorsque cela est nécessaire, nous pourrions entrer en dialogue permanent, d'abord en dialogue ciblé, pardon, avec un nombre limité de candidats, mais pas égal à 1. Moi, je verrais bien, si on a 7, 8, 9 candidats, d'avoir un dialogue ciblé peut-être avec 3. C'est-à-dire qu'il y a un travail préalable qui identifie peut-être 2, 3, 4, enfin 3, peut-être 3 candidats. Et ces 3 candidats, on va dire, peaufinent leur dossier, vont jusqu'au bout. Il y a une présentation à l'intégralité des membres. Et ensuite, on peut avoir un vote de la session sur ces candidats. Peut-être pas un vote sur l'intégralité des candidats initiaux, où là, il y aurait peut-être un premier choix à faire, mais un vote déjà sur des candidats qui auraient été ciblés parce que leur dossier aurait été jugé comme étant en capacité d'accueillir les Jeux. Donc moi, c'est ce que je proposerais si on atteint un certain nombre de candidats, c'est que nous y allions en dialogue ciblé avec plusieurs candidats, avec un vote final de la part de la session. Deuxièmement, je l'ai écrit d'ailleurs dans mon document, je pense que les Jeux olympiques ont vocation à aller partout dans le monde, et j'ai écrit de mémoire quelque chose comme ils ont vocation notamment à aller dans des continents ou des régions dans lesquelles ils n'ont jamais été. Alors pour les Jeux d'été, on n'a jamais été en Afrique, on n'a jamais été au Moyen-Orient par exemple, mais pour les Jeux d'hiver, on n'a jamais été en Amérique du Sud ou en Amérique latine. Bon, je crois qu'il n'y a pas de pays qui n'ont pas vocation à accueillir les Jeux. L'Argentine et le Chili sont pays de sport d'hiver aussi. Et donc, je crois que c'est quelque chose qui peut être aussi considéré à l'avenir. Mais vous savez, si un jour on va au Moyen-Orient, ça ne pourra pas être en plein été. Donc, se posera la date des Jeux. Si on fait les Jeux d'hiver en Argentine ou au Chili, ça ne va pas être au mois de janvier non plus.
Non, pas du tout.
Voilà. Soyons ouverts. Et je crois que parfois, ça peut être aussi des opportunités. Ce sont des challenges, mais sont aussi des opportunités pour les Jeux. Et je le redis, il n'y a pas de région ou de continent qui n'ont pas vocation à organiser les Jeux.
Merci beaucoup pour cette clarté.
Okay, now David, there is a guy that has asked has raised his hand, is Rick Perelman. He was in 1984, he was the chief of press of us. So he was impressed, also him from Carl Lewis. Go ahead, Rick. Open the microphone.
Okay, now you can hear me. Thank you very much. Nice to see you, Johnny. Yes, I had more hair in 1984, not so much. Johnny, you had more also. Mr. President, you are the president of the French National Olympic Committee, you're the president of the UCI, you are the president, or I'm not sure exactly how you call it, of your department in France. If you are successful in being elected, you will drop the UCI, you will drop the CNOSF. What will you do about your position as the head of your department in France?
I will also stop this one because, to be clear, that's a 100% focused mission. So if I'm elected IOC president, there are two reasons why I will be 100% focused. It's because you need to have 100% of your time just for this mission. And second point, you need to avoid any kind of conflict of interest or any kind of situation where you can take position that can escape from the political neutrality of the IOC. So it's clear that I will, if I'm elected IOC president, the General Assembly of the French NOC is on the 19th of June, so I will resign on the 19th of June. I will then withdraw my position in June, at the end of June, as president of the province, of the department, and I will also stop my mandate as president of the UCI because the elections are also in at the end of summer 2025. So then I will be completely 100% focused with only one mission, the IOC presidency.
Okay, thank you so much.
Okay, now I want only to clarify to our colleague from Algeria that I am also member of the Commission for Press of the IOC, and especially the commission regarding the quotas of media. You know, there is a system to decide how many journalists from each country regarding, there are some parameters that we have to follow. The problem is that it's possible only to accredited 6,000 journalists, because even in the venue there is not enough space, and so it's very limited the possibility that we have to enlarge the number. We are thinking perhaps to the new solution for the future with the next president of the IOC. We will also discuss, because with the new technology, what we can do, how we can enter, and how we can have more access to the journal, because just now, as I told in the past days, the IOC is a kind of ivory tower in which now it's not possible anymore to enter. And all the candidates this time, even for the Congress in Greece now, they told that they prefer to have us in the mixed zone and not in a press conference. So I tell you, David, that the mixed zone is something that can be good after a sport competition, because after the mixed zone there is also the press conference. But to have you guys only the mixed zone is something that is always a mess. You know what a mess is, a mixed zone. Even if it's big, the first people in the front line can understand what you are telling. The people on the back, they have no chance, no? So I think that in the future, with the new president, and we will discuss again how will be the future of the journalism in the new IOC, I guess. If you agree, if you agree, David, in case
for sure, I agree, because you know we need you clearly, because you are also the intermediate in a way between the athlete and the fans, and so we need the journalists to also feel comfortable. But as you said, with the success of the games, of course, we need to put also some rules because they are a limited space in a way. And we want also to feel the journalists to be comfortable to work in this area. So if I'm elected, I will be more than happy to discuss with you about these different topics. The same we've done also with the cycling journalists. We have also this unit, not, but we have also this group of cycling journalists, and we are working with them because we have in fact the same goal, you know, and we need to work together, and let's see what we can do together to even give you more opportunities in the future.
No, thank you very much for your candidacy. We want to remind you, as president of the IOC, as president of UCA, that we have our Congress in Rabat from 13th of May to 17th of May, where we will be an open discussion with the top leader in sport, because especially in this moment is very needed. open discussion between the different parts, no? Because in the world of tension, we have to find together the same language, to use the same language to help the young generation of the world. So if any guy has any other question, we are over the hour, so no, well, okay. I thank you very much for and see you soon. I don't know in which kind of position, but for us, everything is fair. And we will be very glad for you as president of IOC or president of UCI. We will continue our dialogue. And thank you to accept our invitation.
Thank you very much. It was my pleasure to be in front of you, and let's meet together in 2 weeks. I hope, of course, with the cap of IOC president, and I will continue to push for. I believe I have some good support, but let's see. We will see exactly on the 20th of March. But thank you.
But anyway, we will continue to work together in one point or another point. This for sure. This is the most important thing for us. Thank you very much, and see you soon. Guys, tomorrow at 2 o'clock, we will have Prince Faisal. Bye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, David.
Bye-bye.